Alright, so I thought I'd do something a little different. For this video, I'm gonna talk about my top my top 5 favorite holidays, but I will also briefly go over some honorable mentions. I'm not gonna premiere this, I'm just gonna upload this regularly, but yeah. I've been fixating on the Papa Louie games, so and I think the holidays are a big staple of them at this point. So I figured this would be a good video to do, or at least a fun video to do. So coming in at number 5 is, hold on, there we go, Sugarplex Film Fest. I like this holiday because it's really flashy. I like the color scheme, the red and gold color scheme, and black, but the red and gold just go together. It kind of reminds me of royalty somewhat. And I just like a lot of the fun ingredients. Popcorn, candy, different soft drinks such as root beer, Dr. Cherry, which is basically cherry Dr. Pepper, and then of course Fizzo, which is basically Coca-Cola in the flipverse. I love Coca-Cola. So I love how it's an ingredient in some of the games. In fact, I wish it's Fizzo Gold is actually an ingredient in Papa's Pancakeria HD because Sugarplex Film Fest is in that game. But I honestly wish Fizzo Gold was a standard year-round ingredient because if Papa's Pancakeria were real, I would definitely want to order Fizzo Gold if it was a year-round beverage. And it's just such a unique concept. A lot of holidays, which we will be getting into, are themed around actual holidays in real life, but some of them are original to the Flipverse. And then Sugarplex Film Fest. It's basically themed around film, which is a unique topic to theme a holiday around. Now, there's probably film festivals that go on, but there's not really a holiday per se based on film. So yeah, I like it because I like the flashiness of the holiday. I think it's cool that customers have movie tickets with them when they're in this holiday. I like how the tables have lights around them. It's just a fun holiday. And then coming in at number 4 is Cherry Blossom Festival. I love this holiday because I just love pink flowers. I love the overall vibes and the aesthetics of this holiday. I will admit, I'm not a fan of the ingredients for this holiday and the savory games, but I do enjoy a lot of the ingredients for the sweet games. One of my very favorites being the sugar petals that we have in the Papa's Mocharia games, To Go and Deluxe. And I believe we have them in Papa's Paletteria To Go as well. They resemble pink flower petals in sprinkle form, and you gotta appreciate that pink flower petal sprinkles. And the trees turn pink. Not not the stumps, of course, but just like the leaves. I pink is my favorite color, so I I just love how all the towns look during Cherry Blossom Festival. It's just gorgeous. Additionally, there's also pink tulip decorations that are that are used to decorate some of the outdoorsy areas. I know Papa's Mocharia Deluxe, and probably to I don't know if it's in to go, but I do love the pink tulip vase decorations. I I don't know if they're outside the restaurant, but they are a part of the food outside of the food truck area in Zoo Pepper 10, which was not in the to go version. It was the food truck debuted in Papa's Cluckeria, so we didn't get it in Mocharia until the deluxe version. But yeah, and then a lot of a, a lot of the lobby decorations are gorgeous. I love there's a couple of walls that in particular that I enjoy. There's like a pattern wall that it's like dark pink or hot pink, and it has lighter cherry blossoms printed on it. It's like a pattern, and then there's another wall that it's like white, and then it has like cherry blossom branches with the actual cherry blossoms themselves on it. So, and then I like the tall vase with the cherry blossom arrangement. This holiday is up my alley because like I said, I love pink flowers. I actually chose this holiday for my favorite holiday in Mocharia Deluxe specifically because, unfortunately, Valentine's Day did get replaced by Mardi Gras, so I decided to pivot towards the Cherry Blossom Festival because if I'm not gonna have Valentine's Day, then I may as well honor my love for pink flowers through Cherry Blossom Festival. So yeah. Number 3 is New Year's. I love this holiday because it's just so colorful and gorgeous and fun. I love how this holiday is associated. Like, this is the most colorful holiday in the Papa Louie franchise, and it's not even up for debate. All the decorations are basically rainbow themed. The wallpaper, the flooring, the tables, the food ingredients. It's it's just so much fun. I freaking love unlocking all the ingredients because it makes for some really gorgeous and colorful orders. I particularly enjoy how Whiskview Mall looks during New Year's because of all the confetti that's on the ground. And like I said, I just it's just fun unlocking all the ingredients because of how colorful the New Year's orders are from customers who favored this holiday. And I also enjoy this holiday because it's right before my favorite holiday, which I already hinted earlier on, and I'm dropping another hint here, but with the exception of Papa's Wingeria to go, Papa's Donuteria to go, and Papa's Milkeria Deluxe. New Year does come right before my number one favorite holiday, so I also enjoy it for that reason. Plus, I've come to enjoy New Year in real life a lot. I know this is based on, Papa Louie and not so much in real life, but I do want to talk a little bit about real life as well for some of the holidays. For a while, I never really cared about New Year in real life because we never actually really celebrated it, but starting at the end of 2020, in the beginning of 2021, that's when I devised a tradition, if you will, for that holiday, or for this holiday, where I would do a New Year's live stream, log on to Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I would use that game to ring in the new year. And it's just always so fun to do. So yeah, that's why I love New Year. It's just fun and colorful. And I forgot to mention this, but some of the ingredients are really fun and unique as well. I like how we have streamers and candles in the Papa's Cupcakeria games. Like they're inedible, but they still make for unique, fun ingredients. And then number 2 is Maple Mornings. Now, I love this holiday because number 1, it begins in the fall in the Papa Louie games. And the fall or autumn is my favorite season in real life. And I just love this holiday because it's just so freaking delicious. When I played through this holiday, I'm literally going hungry and drooling everywhere because it's the ingredients that you unlock during this holiday are just so freaking they're just so freaking good. And this is a holiday that works in just about every Papa Louie game, with maybe a few exceptions, such as Pancakeria and Milkeria, since they already have a lot of Maple Mornings or breakfast based ingredients that you unlock year round. It's kind of the same sense as to why Summer Luau wasn't in Freezeria Deluxe, is because the game as a whole already caters to the holiday. Same for Papa's Pancakeria and Papa's Milkeria, catering towards Maple Mornings as a year round. But yeah, and it works in both sweet and savory games. Like in the sweet games, you unlock donuts, waffles based ingredients, cinnamon and sugar, maple syrup, mocha flavored stuff. Maple donuts are maple icing is one of the ingredients in Papa's Donuteria. And I've had maple donuts in real life before. And let me tell you, they are freaking delicious. And then it also works really well in the savory games because you have scrambled eggs and hash browns, sausage bits, bacon. Oh my goodness. It's just so delicious. And then they'll also kind of mix and match some of the ingredients. For example, I know maple syrup and cinnamon and sugar are in some of the savory games, whereas bacon is in some of the sweet games. You can kind of mix and match different ingredients or ingredient types during maple mornings because it goes well with both sweet and savory, like I said, and you can mix a little bit of them together too. Same for real life. I know some people like to have bacon and eggs, and then they will follow it with maybe some waffles, some bacon, or some French toast. So yeah. And when my favorite holiday is not in the game, but Maple Mornings is, it's my go-to holiday for when my favorite holiday isn't in the games. Like it is a very strong backup holiday for me. I originally favorited Christmas and Donuteria to go and New Year and Wingeria to go, but I eventually switched to Maple Mornings for both of those games because I realized that even though some of the ingredients for the other aforementioned holidays are pretty good, like the pizza poppers for New Year and Wingeria to go. I do like pizza rolls in real life, but I like the breakfast based ingredients that comes with Maple Mornings even more. So switched to Maple Mornings I did. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say for Maple Mornings. Like I said, it's not my number one favorite holiday, but I think it's number two. It's probably number two. I did try to group this in order from good to best. So yeah, like I said, this is my number one backup holiday for when my favorite holiday isn't in. Because, like I said, it's just absolutely delicious. Now, before I unveil my top pick, I want to briefly go over some honorable mentions. Now, first we have Romano Wedding. Now, I don't really I had it as my favorite holiday specifically for Posteria to go since my favorite holiday did get replaced. But cuz I I do love weddings. I love romance. I love weddings. I love the colors of this holiday. I love the motifs. But one thing that did put me off were the ingredients. The most appealing to me is the bouquet blend, but even that sounded kind of bizarre. So even though I decided not to put it on here for my favorite holidays in general, I decided to pivot to Lunar New Year because one of the ingredients you unlock during Lunar New Year are sesame seeds, and that actually sounds pretty good on spaghetti. Speaking of spaghetti, we are actually having it for lunch in real life today, I believe. So, yeah. But I digress. Like I said, I do love Romano Wedding. I just don't really enjoy any of the ingredients enough to favorite it in Paul's Posteria to go, so that's why I switched over to Lunar New Year. Then we have Summer Luau. I love Summer Luau because it's just really bright and cheerful. My flip line FC Shelby, she's a major Summer Luau fan. So I've kind of had to develop a connection towards this holiday because I don't use her as much as I used to, but I do want to get back into using her more again. but she favorites Summer Luau when it's available. I have her favorite Team Easter and Papa's Freezeria Deluxe since, as I mentioned earlier on, Summer Luau did get replaced with Volcano Gala. So yeah, it's a fun, bright holiday. I like how a lot. I like the colors, the different shades of blue. It has pretty cheerful ingredients. So yeah, and I like Halloween because I like playing. I like nighttime, and I like the fall. I like how all the Halloween fans during this holiday will have a costume in the game that they favorite this holiday in. And then, of course, the closers have always worn costumes during Halloween ever since the debut. So, yeah, Halloween does stand out in that regard. And then, I also like Thanksgiving for some of the same reasons. You know, it's it takes place during the fall, which is gorgeous both in the games and in real life. I think a lot of the ingredients are pretty fun during Thanksgiving, like the cannoli shell in the Mokuria games. It is pretty. And then we have St. Patrick's Day. Now, I don't care for St. Patrick's Day in real life. I actually like Halloween and Thanksgiving in real life because during Halloween we do get candy at times, and then Thanksgiving is filled with yummy food. Plus, I just like the month November in general. But, St. Patrick's Day, I don't really care about in real life, but it can be a fun holiday in the Papa Louie games. I like the Ireland flags that the customers hold. I particularly like this holiday in sweet games. Savory games, the ingredients themselves, not so much, but in the sweet games, the ingredients can be pretty fun. I like the mint themed ingredients because I do like mint in real life. So yeah. And then we have Portellini Feast. Now I like Portellini Feast for similar reasons why I like Maple Mornings. I just like a lot of the ingredients. More so Maple Mornings, but Portellini Feast does have some pretty good ingredients as well. I do like Italian cuisine and stuff. At first, I was unsure about Portellini Feast being in a sweet game, but that being Freezeria Deluxe. But I take it back because it does. It is pretty appetizing in Freezeria Deluxe, as well as a lot of the savory games. So yeah, I like the marinara, which is basically the spaghetti sauce. Mmm, it's so good. And then we have Christmas. Now, I actually have mixed feelings on Christmas because I'm not too big of a fan of how it's executed in the Papa Louie games, but I decided to include it because, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this about Christmas, but I do love it in real life. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but yeah, it is one of my favorite holidays in real life, along with Valentine's Day. I like a lot of the fun and festive orders during this holiday. Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus are fun customers. I'm glad we finally got Mrs. Claus debut they Mrs. Claus, debuted. I'm trying to figure out how to word that correctly. Debutation? I don't know. But Mrs. Claus finally debuted in Papa's Pizzeria Deluxe. About darn time. I've been wanting her for a while. And, them along with a lot of the other customers, I like their ingredients. They're just really festive. The colors are pretty, the white, the red, the green. I love how the buildings are decorated with lights. I love seeing Christmas lights in real life as well. Like, Christmas lights are just gorgeous. Now, for the reason why I say this holiday is poorly executed is because Green Ethan, I know you've debunked this, but for me, Santa comes every day during Christmas. And he's always the third customer, so it kind of makes the holiday a bit boring and predictable in that sense. Now, I get why they did this. Or, Flipline wanted to make sure we got Santa to a gold customer status. But before Christmas ends. But the thing is, we do have coupons, so we can just give him coupons ourselves, even outside of Christmas. And, there are other customers that favorite Christmas in the games, and they may not always get to come during Christmas unless you give them a coupon. It's because Santa is always taking up a slot. Because the way I see it, 3 customers will come in your restaurant that, that favor the holiday that's currently going on. In this case, Christmas. It's hard to get a lot of the Christmas customers in your restaurant even during Christmas because of how Santa is always coming in, so he's always taking up a slot. So yeah, that's my complaint with Christmas. Overall, I do like the fun ingredients and the fun food items during this holiday. And like I said, I love the decorations. I just don't really like the Santa execution. And then I have holly. I like the colors of holly. I like a lot of the ingredients and the decorations. It's a really pretty holiday. It has a certain elegance to it as well. I like the sugar sprinkles that have the same color scheme as holly. It's a pretty holiday, so I decided to include it here too. And then I put Comic Con. It's another holiday that takes place at night, which is always fun. I like a lot of the decorations. There's actually a Starry Night wall. I don't know if that's the exact name, but it's basically just basically a wallpaper of the Starry Night sky. That's one of my favorite Comic Con items in the game. I'm a bit of an astronomy nerd, so I do appreciate Comic Con for that. Not Comic Con. Yeah, Comic Con. For that reason. The color scheme is pretty fun as well. Black, purple, and green. So yeah, I do enjoy Comic Con. Or Comet Con because of my interest in astronomy. So now we're gonna go into my top pick. Now, I did drop off some hints throughout the video as to what that holiday is. So you guys probably already have an idea of what will be at number one. Especially you, Green Ethan. You already know my favorite. If you're watching this, you already know what my number one favorite holiday is, but it is none other than Valentine's Day. Now, I freaking love Valentine's Day. I honestly love this holiday, both in real life and in the Papa Louie games. I'm just a hopeless romantic. In real life, I like to celebrate my OC ships. And then, I've talked about how even though my January was actually pretty good this year, at least the second half, but I do like to focus on Valentine's Day projects during January because it helps me to get a head start and it keeps me busy throughout the month. So I like to go ahead and start focusing on Valentine's Day projects during the beginning of January. And then as for the game goes, what is there to say really? Like there's a lot to go over, but I just love the motifs. I love the hearts. The heart is my favorite geometric shape because it reminds me of love and romance. And then roses are a big part of this holiday as well. Roses are my favorite flower. Roses are just gorgeous and romantic. I love it when customers come in with roses because if they're in a relationship with another customer or if they're like married to another customer or if I ship any of the customers together, I like to imagine the customers given the rose to someone or having received them from someone. Depending on which customer I see would be the giver of the rose and which one I see would be the receiver of the rose. So traditionally, I see male customers as the giver, and then I see female customers as the receiver. But we do have a couple of same sex pairings, so. And then, some men might appreciate flowers more than some women, so there are exceptions to be made there, but I generally see, at least in terms of the hetero couples, I like to see the men being the ones to give the roses to the women. And then the ingredients and the orders are gorgeous during this holiday. I love the candy hearts. I love the frosted roses. Unfortunately, the frosted rose has only been in Papa's Cupcakeria. I would love to see it return because it's honestly one of my favorite Papa Louie food item / ingredient ever. I like the X&O sprinkles. I like the Cupid Berry Derps. And then the customers who do favorite Valentine's Day, I just love how their orders look during Valentine's Day. And then, the decorations. I love my favorite Valentine's Day wallpaper is the heart wall. It's red and it has pink hearts printed on it. And then I love the rose vase. Those are definitely two of my favorite Valentine's Day and lobby items in general. I also like the candy heart statue model that you can get too. That's one of my favorite items I like to have in the shop. And of course, there's Valentine's Day balloons, and then even just a Valentine's Day poster. And then, pink's my favorite color. Pink is associated with Valentine's Day in this game because each holiday does have its own color scheme. For Valentine's Day, it's pink, red, and white. Those colors look really good together. And yeah, I will admit, I am picky about ingredients of this holiday and the savory games, but but so far I've at least been able to find at least one thing from the savory games that looks appealing. Like the beet bread for Papa's Cheeseria and the beet bread bun for Papa's Hot Doggeria to go and HD. And the heartbeat arrabbiata for Papa's Pastaria. At least the web version, because it's not in to go, the to go version. And then the red soy paper for Susaria. And then instead of chocolate tea, I decided to go with raspberry tea for during Valentine's Day. Even my favorite customer, Robbie, he favorites this holiday a couple of times. And I really enjoy the juxtaposition because I imagine him to be really tough and rugged, even a bit cold and grumpy. So having him favor this holiday, I just like the stark contrast of that. Especially in Papa's Cheeseria, because the Papa's Cheeseria to go has Parrot Dash. That's his number one go-to holiday, but in the web version, he actually favors Valentine's Day even over Cinco de Mayo, and then in Cinco de Mayo, there's guacamole, which is hinted to be his favorite food item, so yeah. But yeah, I just love the romance. This is just a heartwarming holiday, both in real life and in the games. The orders are gorgeous during this holiday. I also like Scarlet's holiday outfit and how she carries around a bow during this holiday. This is also the holiday I always favored. When it's available. There are exceptions because we do get Mardi Gras instead sometimes, but like I mentioned, my favorite Maple Mornings and Papa's Wingeria to go and Papa's Donuteria to go. It's my number one backup holiday that I fall back on when Valentine's Day is absent. And then, like I said, I favor Lunar New Year during or in Papa's Pastaria to go. Not the web version, because the web version has regular New Year and Valentine's Day. But in the to go version, yeah, I did decide to eventually select Lunar New Year as my favorite holiday. Because I do like sesame seeds, and they do sound pretty good in spaghetti. And then, as I mentioned, I decided to favorite Cherry Blossom Festival in Papa's Mokeria or not to go, but because that has Valentine's Day, but deluxe. Cherry Blossom Festival is another strong backup for me. At least for the sweet games. I probably wouldn't care about it in the savory games, but Cherry Blossom Festival does have some gorgeous ingredients in the sweet games. But yeah, I love Valentine's Day. I love the lobby decorations. I love the outdoor decorations. The ingredients are adorable. Just the whole prospect of this holiday being based on love and romance. The vibes, the motifs. I just love it all. And that is why Valentine's Day is my #1 favorite holiday in the Papa Louie games. Anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Like I said, I won't premiere this video. I'm just gonna upload it straight to YouTube. So, yeah. Until next time.